let's give some Towandians some relief.
Okay.
Here, I just learned this before the interview began, and I know there are folks watching in Towanda who, and the area, who are anxious about a purchase you just recently made. As you go west on Route 6 and enter the town of Wysox, on the right-hand side is a historic, looks almost like an old barn. I don't know what it is, but it's an old building. And the words, I was just up in Towanda 2 weeks ago, and everybody's talking about, oh, Randy Williams bought that old home, and I'm sure he's going to tear it down and put one of those massive, though attractive, dandy mini-marts there. And there was anxiety about that. The people feel very attached to that old building. What's going to happen?
Well, it's our intention to save the building. Yesterday we did the first phase of it, which was existing condition drawings. We did all the measurements. We hired a company out of Williamsport, Larson Design Group, to do that, and that will be completed within 2 weeks. Then they'll have their structural people evaluate the building. They did a preliminary assessment yesterday, and we think it's structurally sound. Although the roof is leaking and there's 1,000 pigeons sitting on top of it, this building has stood, and there's different accounts. I've had to go online like everyone else has, try to determine its origin, but it's in either the 1850 era or 1871. It was abandoned and left empty for 40 years, probably when you were in high school. It was empty. And if you go on the second or third floor, you can see probably 1,000 signatures.
A lot of people during those 40 years could walk in there and go into it at will and just walk through it.
Yes. Yeah.
And their signatures.
They signed it and carved into it, and people used to hunt pigeons in there with pellet guns, of all things, because it was so full of pigeons.
Pretty easy hunting, too.
And how it came to be used as a store, the Fomer family ran a general store on the corner, and it burned to the ground. And Dale Fomer moved into this building. He did some renovations, and he made it a general store. And then it was sold to Richard Bice, who I think owned it for about 22 or 25 years. That's the gentleman we bought it from. And
everything is we, Randy.
It is we.
You don't say I. You don't. The word I is not really in your vocabulary.
That's uncomfortable.
Okay.
And
so you own it today, and you're going to try to save the building.
We will save.
You will save the building.
Save
Good for you.
And whether or not it can be, we're certainly not going to do a historic restoration, but it's our intent to put the cupola back on top.
Wonderful.
And externally, we think we can make it look very much like it did in the period when it was built.
All right, we're running.
Internally, that's not possible.
Okay.
We're going to do our best to save the clear story in the center. There was a 3-story or 4-story center, whether it was a cylindrical library, we're not sure what it was. It's magnificent.